Well, he's not popular with racists.
So it wasn't white nationalists that invaded the Capitol last week, then? Steve Bannon, his key advisor, Steve Bannon, his key advisor during the presidential campaign, who's now been pardoned for ripping off Trump supporters, he didn't say you should wear the accusation of racism like a badge of honour.
Well, that's his quote. I mean, if that's what he's saying. But you can't just say then that everyone that marched on the Capitol is racist.
I didn't. I said they were white nationalists.
What is up, everybody? Harry here. Quick heads up. This is an older clip. But Trump's presidency and the birtherism history keep resurfacing, so it's worth a fresh look. This is James O'Brien on LBC with a caller named Stephen who rings in insisting Trump gets unfairly smeared by the media. O'Brien asks him to name a lie. Stephen reaches for birtherism, the false claim Obama wasn't born in America, not realizing O'Brien's about to use that exact example against him. Watch how quickly Stephen runs out of road once he's asked for specifics. Get subscribed if you want breakdowns that hold up years later. Let's get into it.
I just want to say I'm actually a fan of Trump, and I think there's a lot of stuff in the media which are lies.
Go on.
I don't know yourself. You're obviously anti-Trump.
No, go on. What are the lies that you're unhappy about?
Well, no, I just think you even said this morning, you said it's okay for him, what is it, the quote you used, it's okay to be racist again?
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you draw that conclusion?
He accused Barack Obama of not having been born in America and lying about his birth certificate.
So how's that racist?
Birtherism is racist because Barack Obama is well, you can't. I mean, you can talk over me if you want, Stephen. But okay, no, you crack on. There have been
previous presidents that have actually been white that have also not been accused of being born in America. So was that also racist?
No, of course it wouldn't be racist. Who was that, by the way?
I think a president from 1880. It goes back over
No, come on. You're on national radio. You've got your ducks in a row. Tell me about the last time an American president was accused of not being born in America.
I've forgotten the names. But
don't be silly. Don't tease me. Of course you haven't forgotten the name. You wouldn't come on the radio and say something and then immediately fall apart in response to the first question you're asked.
It's not falling apart.
Okay, so let's go back to the lies that have been told about Donald Trump. Which one would you reach for first?
Well, the one that you just said it's okay for the racist to come out.
Well, we've just demonstrated he's very popular with racists, Stephen. I think we can all agree on that.
Well, he's not popular with racists.
So it wasn't white nationalists that invaded the Capitol last week, then? Steve Bannon, his key advisor, during the presidential campaign, who's now been pardoned for ripping off Trump supporters, he didn't say you should wear the accusation of racism like a badge of honour.
Well, that's his quote. I mean, if that's what he's saying. But you can't just say then that everyone that marched on the Capitol is racist.
I didn't. I said they were white nationalists.
Well, you're also portraying that.
So let's go back to the lies, Stephen. Let's go back to the lies that the mainstream media in America has told about Donald Trump.
Well, I've just told you the fact that he's racist.
But we've just proved that he is.
but because he's questioned someone's birth certificate, that makes him racist.
No, because he questioned a black man's birth certificate, knowing that it was absolutely untrue. So that would be called a racist lie, which is encouraged to make people who are uncomfortable with Barack Obama's skin colour believe something that's not true about him, because it then undermines the legitimacy of his presidency. So briefly, because it's not going great, but I'd like you to stick around for a little bit longer. What is it you liked about him, Stephen?
I think that he come out and spoke a lot of the truth on stuff.
Yeah, what stuff? Stephen's hung up.
Watch the exact moment Stephen's own example turns on him, because it's a clean demonstration of a specific rhetorical trap. He opens by insisting the media tells lies about Trump, and when asked for one, reaches for birtherism, apparently expecting it to illustrate media dishonesty. O'Brien's response reframes it instead as the clearest example of the opposite. Not a lie told about Trump, but a lie Trump told for years about Obama's birthplace, which is a matter of public record rather than interpretation. That's worth sitting with as a pattern beyond this call. Reaching for an example to prove a general claim only works if you've checked whether that specific example actually points the direction you think it does. The previous president question is the moment that actually breaks the call open, and it's worth walking through why. O'Brien asks Stephen to name another president who'd faced the same birthplace accusation. Since Stephen's implicit framing was that this was just ordinary political scrutiny rather than something targeted at Obama specifically, Stephen can't name one because there genuinely wasn't a comparable case. Every other American president, all of them white, never faced sustained public accusations of having fabricated their birth certificate. That asymmetry is the actual substance of the racism claim, not an assertion requiring anyone to read Trump's mind. The theory was applied to one president in modern history, and the plausible explanation for why it attached to that one and not the others is the thing Stephen is being asked to account for and can't. The exchange about January 6th and Steve Bannon follows a similar structure. O'Brien isn't asking Stephen to defend every person who marched on the Capitol. He's pointing out that Trump's own former chief strategist described wearing an accusation of racism as something close to a badge of honor, which complicates the claim that racism accusations against Trump's circle are simply media invention. Stephen's response is to narrow his own prior claim from not popular with racists to specifically objecting to calling everyone who marched a racist, which is a real distinction worth having, but it's also a retreat from the broader claim he opened the call defending. The final, most telling moment is the simplest. Asked directly what he liked about Trump, what truth Trump told that others wouldn't. Stephen says a lot of the truth on stuff, and when pushed to specify what stuff, he hangs up. That's worth noting without overreading it, because we don't know why anyone mends a call signal. Frustration or genuinely nothing left to say could all look identical from the outside. What's checkable is just this. A call that opened with a confident general claim ended without a single specific example surviving contact with a follow-up question. Given how much birtherism and questions about Trump's relationship with the far right have remained live topics well past this specific call, the exchange holds up as a useful template for a pattern worth recognizing whenever it resurfaces. A sweeping claim about unfair treatment is only as strong as a specific instance offered to support it, and it's worth checking that instance before accepting the broader claim built on top of it. It's also worth noting the shape of O'Brien's questioning, because it's the same method across most of these calls. He doesn't argue the general claim directly. He asks for one specific example and tests that on its own merits. That tends to be more revealing than arguing the broad point head on. A general claim can always be restated or softened, but a specific example either holds up or it doesn't, with nowhere left to retreat once it's been named. If breakdowns like this are useful to you, get subscribed to Harry Unfiltered, and I'll keep pulling these apart properly, one call at a time.